Hello and welcome to HITC Sport. Right, last week when the Premier League squads were announced, there was a shock in the Chelsea one. Rather than name someone like Danny Drinkwater or Baba Rahman, you know, two actual footballers, they instead decided to draft in ex-number 1 Petr Cech. The helmet enthusiasts came out of semi-retirement backup stopper for the Blues, which just got me thinking, which other retired players should clubs look to bring back? So here we go, here is one former player each Premier League club should bring out of retirement right now. Arsenal, Dennis Bergkamp. On transfer deadline day there was joy at the arrival of Thomas Partey, but there was also disappointment at the fact that Houssem Aouar remained at Lyon. The French midfielder was set to become the creative force that Arsenal are missing, but a deal collapsed and the Gunners were stuck with Granit Xhaka. Well, they've also got Mesut Ozil, but his Arsenal career is as dead as my family goldfish. But Dennis Bergkamp would be a great player to bring back for Arsenal. He can provide backup up front but can also play off the striker and create even more chances in this exciting team Arteta's put together, providing they're not playing abroad of course because the bloke hates flying. I mean, the easy option would be picking Thierry Henry, but what's the point, they've already got Aubameyang. Aston Villa, Gareth Barry. This man played more than 400 times for the Villa and would certainly add much needed experience to a relatively young team. They've got some good options in the middle, John McGinn's great while Douglas Luiz is improving, but they could do with some assured backup, which is exactly what Gareth Barry would bring. He could definitely still do a job, he only stopped playing last season, he can take the penalties, he can play in the cup games, and he can organise the taxis, it would be a great return. Brighton, Paul McShane. No, sorry, this isn't an Irish guy video. Brighton, Bobby Zamora. The Seagulls play some attractive football, but considering they've got less points than anti-football Steve Bruce and Newcastle, they're clearly doing something wrong. Brighton create chances, but they don't take them. They try and score the perfect goal. So what I think they need is another striker, and one built in a totally different mould than Neil Maupay and Aaron Connolly. I mean, they did have that, but they sent him on loan to Watford. So instead, they could bring back Bobby Zamora. The big man had 2 successful spells as a Seagull and could finally achieve his dream of playing in the top flight with Brighton. He'd give Brighton something totally different up top, a cliche older than time itself. Burnley, Chris Baird. This is an odd choice, but just hear me out, Burnley fans. Chris Baird only spent a few months at Turf Moor back in 2014, but he's the kind of player they need at Turf Moor right now. Sean Dyche's squad is so small and depleted that it's no wonder they're struggling so much. So what do they need? Mr. Versatile Chris Baird. Sure, he might not be the sexiest of footballers, that role's reserved for Olivier Giroud or David Ginola, but Baird can do a job wherever you're playing, right back, left back, centre mid, put him in goal and I reckon he could make more saves than Kepa. Chris Baird might not be what you want, but he's what Burnley need. Chelsea, John Terry. Chelsea have already brought one former player back, so why not another? Chelsea have got problems at the back, so John Terry's the man they need. Imagine him and Thiago Silva alongside each other. 10 years ago that would have been the best pairing in world football. In 2020 it would have a combined age of 75 and it would still probably keep more clean sheets than an old people's home. Crystal Palace, Ashley Cole. With Patrick Van Aanholt out injured, Palace have had to play a kid at left back, with Tyreek Mitchell doing a wonderful job. Except when he tried to start a fight with Tariq Lamptey. What was all that about? Doesn't he know Tariq Lamptey's the salt of the earth? But anyway, Palace are missing their first choice left back and could do with some cover, which is where former loanee Ashley Cole comes into it. He had a very brief spell with Palace at the beginning of his career and could certainly help out now. Just keep him away from the work experience, lads. Everton, Tim Cahill. Everton are one of the surprise packages of the season so far, but what's going to happen when Dominic Calvert-Lewin's hot streak in front of goal comes to an end? The Toffees need an alternative, a different way of playing, a man who can bully the opposition, who can operate up front or in midfield, a man called Tim Cahill. The Shadow Boxer is a modern day Everton legend and as the old cliche goes, would give Carlo Ancelotti something different in attack. When you're 1-0 down, chasing an equaliser, Tim Cahill's the kind of player you want on your bench, not Cenk Tosin. Fulham, Scott Parker. The Fulham manager needs to dust off his boots and get himself out there himself because his own players aren't getting the job done. He needs to sack off the suave suit and get a Fulham shirt on and lead by example. Scott Parker was a top midfielder back in the day and is the kind of presence they need to get on top of games and turn around this torrid run of form. Leeds United, David Batty. One of football's great enigmas, David Batty did not like football, which is a shame because he was really good at it. And Leeds are shy of a midfielder right now with Calvin Phillips out injured, so David Batty would certainly be welcome back at Ellen Road. The issue would be getting in touch with him. The man's more incognito than Google Chrome when you're looking at something you shouldn't. Leicester City, Emile Heskey. I've mentioned him a lot lately, but this isn't a promo for another YouTube channel. I just think Emile Heskey is the kind of man Leicester could do with. I mean, I'd pick Gary Lineker, but the bloke's nearly 60. He's just full of crisps. And anyway, he's a bit busy dealing with angry idiots on Twitter and all the poo banter. And it was 30 years ago, let's move on. But Leicester completely rely on Jamie Vardy, who is the kind of striker who would probably thrive alongside a target man. Vardy and Heskey could be the new Owen and Heskey. It would just be a bit less boring. They'd be neck and blue wicked, not talking about horses. Liverpool, Jamie Carragher. With Virgil van Dijk out for the season, Liverpool need a centre-back. I know Reds fans would want Steven Gerrard back to hopefully win that elusive Premier League title, but it's a defender they need, and since Steven Kork is still playing in Turkey, it's Jamie Carragher they should bring back. The local lad does a lot of talking on Sky Sports, which is good because that's what he's paid to do, but could he still do it in the Premier League? There's a huge opening in the Liverpool squad right now, and the return of a veteran like Carragher could certainly help the likes of Joe Gomez improve even further. Manchester City Vincent Kompany. Every year Pep Guardiola spends a load of cash on a defender. This year they brought in two, Ruben Dias and Nathan Ake, but we're still yet to see whether or not throwing money at the problem is going to fix things for City. To be honest, they've not been the same since Vincent Kompany left. They missed that leader, that huge presence at the back. Shearer's injury rated so bad that he's got his own special bed reserved at the local hospital, but when he was fit and in form, there weren't many better than Vincent Kompany. He's a City legend who could certainly show the current crop a thing or two. Man United Nemanja Vidic. We've got a hat-trick of centre-backs, as Man United are another club who've got problems at the back. Years ago, Sir Alex Ferguson brought Paul Scholes out of retirement, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer probably wished he could do it with Nemanja Vidic. Sure, they got a clean sheet against Chelsea, but we all know that doesn't mean things are all rosy once again at Old Trafford. They need a leader at the back who will die for the shirt before conceding a goal, and that's exactly what Nemanja Vidic used to do. Newcastle United Alan Shearer. For all the Callum Wilson scoring goals, Newcastle are one injury away from being completely buggered. If Wilson gets crocked, they'll have to go with either the man who's allergic to scoring goals, Joe Linton, or the man slower than the number 53 bus, Andy Carroll. So why not bring back the Premier League's all-time leading goal scorer, Alan Shearer? Sure, he's 50, but I reckon he could still bang a few in, and he'd definitely get a game because he's Steve Bruce's mate. Sheffield United Chris Morgan. Right, get Chris Morgan back, pair him alongside Phil Jagielka, sack Chris Wilder and bring back Neil Warnock. Then we can recreate that legendary Sheffield United documentary where we saw some of the most incredible team talks known to man. Remember lads, that one's for Muscat. Southampton Francis Bernardi. I know he's 50, but the former Saints defender is still so fit that he could definitely do a job. I mean, the man was doing Ironmans last year for charity. Sure, he ended up in hospital, but I mean, he was trying to do 7, at least he got 5 done. I don't even know what one entails. All I can think of is Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle from all those years ago. What a match that was. Tottenham Dimitar Berbatov. I know they signed Carlos Vinicius, but we still don't really know how good a back it would be for Harry Kane until the England striker picks up another injury. So just to be sure, Tottenham need Dimitar Berbatov back. One of the coolest finishers around, hung up his boots last year, but I reckon he could still do a job off the bench for Tottenham. Imagine it man, Berbatov, Kane, Bale and Son, all playing in one Tottenham team. Then they'll just need Roman Pavlyuchenko back and things will be perfect. West Brom Nicolas Anelka. West Brom need goals, Nicolas Anelka score goals. It's as simple as that. Sure, he wasn't too great in a West Brom shirt, but he scored goals for most of his other clubs. Although considering the fact he terminated his own contract at the Hawthorns after the whole Canel scandal, maybe this one isn't a good idea. West Ham Joe Cole. West Ham have had some sensational players come through their academy, while they've also had some top quality stars arrive in years gone by. But who could they use right now? I reckon Joe Cole. Sure, his second spell with the club wasn't great, but he's got more natural ability in his big toe than most people in the Premier League. He was ahead of his time. It can certainly teach the West Ham attackers a thing or two about creativity and vision. And finally Wolves Robbie Keane. I mean, it was a toss-up between Keane and Kevin Doyle. Either way, I was picking an aging Irish striker. Wolves still don't really have a proper backup for Raul Jimenez, and poacher Robbie Keane could certainly come off the bench, nick a goal, do a cartwheel, forward roll and wag his fingers in celebration. It would be just like old times, we'd be drowning in nostalgia. So there we have it, there's one former player your club should bring out of retirement right now. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to HITC Sport, and until next time we will see you around.